Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of From Page to Stage. I'm joined today by a great friend of mine, Sheldon Crocker. Now, Sheldon is in Newfoundland. I'm sure I've said that wrong. Can you say it for me so I get it right?
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland. Right. Okay. That's in Canada, if you didn't know. That's on the extreme east. So he's in a time zone all of his own. So Sheldon joins us from Newfoundland. And we were talking about page to stage type things. Now, Sheldon and I have known each other for 3 years, we worked it out, and we have come together through the wonders of being online. So Sheldon, give us a quick snippet. How did you get to where you are now?
Well, I need to start off by saying it's an honor to be here, and I'm grateful once again to be in your company and to be on your lovely podcast for the second time, actually.
Yeah.
So I'd like to say that I started off by being a speaker. I started off being a speaker, asked to speak at an agency event here where I live, because I have lived experience. I have life experiences of overcoming obstacles and barriers in my life, and they wanted me to give a speech to their annual general meeting that they were having one year. And it's like, me, I haven't got nothing to share. I haven't got nothing to say. I'm say, yeah, you have. You've been through it all. You've done it all. So it's, so it started from there actually.
Okay.
So
So can you give our audience a little snippet of where there is? You're saying you were speaking, but a little bit of your life history, because I know a bit about it, and then everybody who's read your book knows a bit about it. But for our audience who haven't come across the gorgeous Sheldon Crocker yet, can you give us a
right.
snippet of your history?
Okay. Well, to go even further back, being born in a very small town, and when I say small, I mean very small. It had 300 people,
Okay.
and 300 people, the only person there with a physical disability. I was picked on, bullied, and challenged my entire life, and even by my own parents, who for example, my father would tell me I would never be anything besides a disabled welfare bum. And the times weren't that easy at home. My mother was physically abusive towards me. And having no brothers and sisters, being an only child, I had to deal with everything on my own.
Yeah.
And I didn't allow myself to have any friends when I was younger because I was afraid of family's secret might come out about how the way my parents were behind closed
Yeah.
doors.
Yeah.
So I never ever felt like my words had any power. I never ever felt like my words mattered, even though I've always had things to share, things I wanted to share. I wasn't really allowed to experience things
Okay.
in my life. So
So that
it
was
caused me,
your early childhood, yeah.
yeah, it caused me to bottle everything up. It caused me to to isolate myself and to turn to alcohol and drugs as my escape. So I fell into major addictions, and I ended up sleeping on the streets and living in on the streets and sleeping on the park bench in December, January, and February here, and where I'm living is like minus 20 degrees and
That's
very,
Celsius.
yeah, so it's very cold.
Very cold.
Um, so that's where I spent most of, that's where I spent at least 10 years of my life. Often not exactly on the streets, but like back and forth to the streets,
Yeah.
back and forth to
Yeah.
the lockup for being the drunk, as we would call it here, the drunk tank, because we were, being, and I come to realize later that I was getting drunk on purpose
Yeah.
because at least I would have breakfast in the morning. They would feed me with breakfast before they let me out, you know. So that's where
It was
that's
your coping mechanism.
it was. It
Yeah.
was. It was. Well,
Sure.
at least I knew I'd have a meal for today.
Yeah.
You know.
And a bed for the
So
night.
yeah,
Mm.
right. And Bedford night, if you didn't mind sharing your room, but there was one time in particular I shared the room. The guy must have been 6'7". He was all covered in tattoos, and he was a big, real hardened criminal, and give me your mattress or else. It's like, okay, here's my mattress. The mattress is
Yeah.
so thin, it's like sleeping on the bare floor anyway. So it's just, sure, here you go. So yeah, if you don't, it's bid for tonight if you don't mind sharing it.
So
So
this is what you were sharing on your when you were asked to speak, your history
yeah,
of the abuse, the
yes,
as you say, falling into addictions to try and escape. Sure.
yes, that's where it
The
all
other
started.
side.
Yeah,
You've come out the other side.
I sure have. I sure have. Some people say, how do you do it? It's like, well, I could sit in one spot and rot, or I could just sit in my own manure. Well, I don't know about my own manure, but well, not, yeah, my
Yeah. As the saying goes.
metaphorical
Yes,
manure.
as the saying
Yes,
goes. Sure.
right. Or I can keep on walking, and I can keep on walking to the other side to get to the pretty flowers or whatever you want to see on the other side. So I
And
get to where I am
that's
today.
what you've got behind you, isn't it? Your road to resilience.
It is my road to resilience. Yeah. So
Nice one.
keep on walking is the name of my first book, and my second book is called The Road to Resilience.
Beautiful.
So it all comes
Beautiful.
together, right?
Oh,
You know?
yeah. There's a wonderful thread through all of this, isn't there? There's your lived experience, which says,
Hmm.
okay, life was pretty crap to start with, but
Right.
you kept moving.
Yes.
You haven't let it get you down.
Correct.
Oh,
Because I know that if it's only the last few years that I really come to really realize that I'm glad those things happened to me. I mean, I've always had the sense that I seen the benefit of it, but I'm really glad that like people are really upset, like really hurt because of COVID. Yes, COVID was it was and still is a very terrible, 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 terrible thing. But I'm grateful that it happened.
mhm.
I'm grateful for my own self. I'm grateful that it happened because if it wasn't for COVID, I don't think I would have wrote my first book, which led to my second book.
Mhm.
Because I was actually walking towards a liquor store after being sober for 20 years, and it was like so I when I just stopped in my tracks and when I decided to come home instead and read my journals from the addiction center that I attended,
Right.
and which led me to hearing the voice in my head that many people were telling me my entire life, oh, Sheldon, you could probably write a book about your story of all what you've been through in your life.
So
So,
maybe taking that point up then. So you, excuse me, you were journaling as part of your rehab program.
yes,
Had you been writing before that?
no,
Okay. So in fact, your rehab was your first experience of writing.
yeah, well, writing anything, yeah,
Yeah.
that
And
type of
obviously
writing, yeah,
that then led into the fuel, the content for your
hmm,
book.
right.
You actually physically did a walk, didn't you?
I did. Well, like, another part of my childhood is like the doctors told my parents that I would most likely never be able to walk on my own because being born with a physical disability, I had very weak leg muscles, and
Sure.
I didn't start walking until I was approximately about 6 years old, I guess.
Mhm.
And sitting on my bum and bobbing my way down the stairs was the only way I could move.
Yeah.
But I was very stubborn. I'm a redhead, and they say, well, now I know not you shouldn't stereotype people and all that, but this saying goes, the redheads are stubborn. The redheads are spitey and stubborn. So you know,
Feisty.
feisty. Yeah.
Feisty. It's the
So
Celtic bit in you and me that says, you can't. Oh, really? Just
right.
watch me.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the more people would say to me, I can't do something, the more it's like, yeah, I can, I will. So the doctor telling my parents that I couldn't was the best thing that could have happened because I did. So it was only about 7 years. Time flies by. Time goes so fast. It's about 7 years ago, I guess. Um, that I done. It's called the Telly 10 race. It's a 10-mile road race,
Okay.
and I didn't do no training. I didn't do no practicing. I just woke up one morning and said, I'm going to do the Telly 10 race.
Wow.
So I went and registered, and it was the next day. The race was, and it was the first time I've ever really done. But I spent my entire life walking because that's all I don't drive. I don't have a vehicle, so I walk everywhere I go.
Mhm.
Especially back in the days when I was going through my addiction, I didn't even have money bus fare.
Yeah,
So
you had to walk.
yeah, so I
Mhm.
woke up and I went and started the race, and I finished the race. And before my whole mantra throughout the whole thing is move those legs, keep going, move those legs, keep going. I keep
Love it.
repeating to myself over and over and over. And I don't know if it was a sign or something, but when I started the race, in great big letters on the pavement was somebody had written. I'm sure there was more than one person named Sheldon in the entire race. There was like 4,000 people in the race. So, but it said, "Good luck, Sheldon. Keep on going. You know, you can do it, right?"
Fabulous.
So I seen that. It's like that's a sign from,
I'll
you
take
know,
that one. Yeah.
right? So I finished. There was probably nine, or I think there was like nine people who finished after me, but that's not count. That's for everybody who finished. There was a lot of people who didn't finish the race.
Really?
Yeah. So that was the first time I've ever done. So that's about my keep on walking.
Yeah. It's all fuel, isn't it? It's all fuel for your writing because
Yes,
life does give us lessons.
for
And
sure.
what I'm hearing from you is that you are using that wisdom of what you've learned over your life to
Hmm.
share with other people. And you're doing that both in the writing, as you said, 2 books now, and that's the prose. There's also your poetry as well, which you've published.
Yes, yes. I
Yes.
published a book of poetry as well.
Yeah.
It's only a short term, not a short phrase book, I guess.
Okay.
It's only like 30 pages long. But as a book of poetry that from my life experiences, and is about the nature in Newfoundland and the
Yeah.
environment of being here and overcoming obstacles and
Yeah.
the rough time, the hard times, and that's why Newfoundlanders, most places in the world, in Canada especially, are known as being a hardy race of people, not race, a hardy culture of people, and
Yeah.
because we have had, for ages we've had to overcome adversities, and
Uh-huh. Well, you're actually separate from mainland Canada, aren't you?
yeah, we're an island
You're
off by
an
ourselves in the North Atlantic. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm sorry, okay. Coming from the UK and from Scotland, I know what the North Atlantic can be like.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I'm not surprised you're a hardy bunch.
Hmm. Like yourself.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is where your writing and your speaking are all tying in beautifully because speaking came first for you before you wrote the books.
It did. It
Okay.
did. It was when I was went to that event for that organization that I already mentioned.
Mm.
They told me when I went to that speaking that there's going to be 10 people there. No, they said, how was it? They said, there's going to be 10 people there that you know. They didn't say nothing else. That's all he said. There's going to be 10 people there that you know. I was like, okay, that's cool. It's only going to be 10 people there, and I can give a talk in front of 10 people. I think I've told you this before, but yeah, I said, yeah, okay, there's only gonna be 10 people there. I can do that. I go there, sure. There's 10 people there that I know, but they didn't mention the 590 other people that was going to be there,
Whoa.
or
So
600, well, something 5 or 690. Yeah,
your first experience of speaking was in front of
there's over 500 people. Yeah,
well done you.
yeah.
I mean, I'm
And
in awe of that. But
it
you
was my
kind of
life.
feel
It
as
was
though
my
you got
personal
tricked
life
into
story
it.
too. So, hmm?
You kind of feel as though you got tricked into it.
Oh yeah, I know. It's all good fun. It was like it was a good. It was it helped me step out of my comfort zone, and a lot of times
Pushed
we
you
need
out.
to be a lot of times we need to be pushed out of her,
Mm.
especially if it's people that is an organization that's helped me. If it wasn't for this organization, that I know for a fact that I would not be alive right now.
Right.
um no matter how stubborn and hard-headed and feisty I am, I know that I was at a point in my life that if they didn't help me, I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah. So there was that sense of, again, showing an organization, thank you, this is how far I've come with your help.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. So that, having said that, though, you were already journaling. You had already started journaling. So by writing's a strange description, isn't it? I mean, we talk about being authors and we're thinking about published work. But some of the people I've been interviewing for this podcast, we've talked about, when did you start writing? And one person wrote a play aged 9.
Right.
Other people have done creative writing since they were 6. And you go, okay. So writing in its broadest sense, because as you've said, words have power. And whether that's in the writing or the speaking, this is where they can all come together. But a lot of just to give you the background, a lot of our audience are published authors who have poured their heart and soul into their writing. And very often they're entrepreneurs who've found a void and they have filled it. They want to express what the solution that they found to that void, to that problem. And they've written, very often it's a multi-author book. They've contributed to a multi-author book. And that whole experience of writing down the origin story has been a healing journey in and of itself. And then you say, okay, now let's talk about it. Really? You want me to actually speak those words out?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So this is why sometimes I'm keen to get over the idea that writing and author can be two separate things. And author and speaker are not necessarily two separate things.
Right.
It's not an either or, it's a both and. And you, sir, are a wonderful example of that. You continue to write and you continue to speak.
For sure. I find the both of them are arts. And since both of them are arts, they do have things in common. They do have things in common, but they also have their differences as well. It's a lot like people, So, but I just find that with speaking, for me, the reason why I find speaking so easy, and believe it or not, I do find speaking in person, I find it much easier to speak in front of 500 than what I do to speak one-on-one to somebody.
Really?
Yeah, much easier. I find it very, very difficult to have just conversations with, like, one-on-one. Yeah. Okay. And the reason why I feel is because when I was growing up much younger, where I didn't have a voice and I didn't feel like I was allowed to have a voice, I didn't get the opportunity to develop the communication skills or the socialization skills. Okay. So since I didn't have a place to start from, that's why I find it difficult now when I'm talking one-on-one. But in front of a crowd, I have a purpose. I know why I'm there.
Right.
I'm there to educate. I'm there to help others. I don't share my stories. I don't share my life story, or I don't share whatever I share for me. I don't do it for me.
No.
I do it because I know I don't want anybody else to suffer the way that I had in the past. Yeah. And if I'm able to share my story, I know that I help people.
Yes.
And that's what I'm here for.
That's one of the things, isn't it? When we stand up in front of, even if it's one person, or as you feel more familiar with a lot of people, when we make it about ourselves and how we're going to come across, the nerves ramp up and we go into that flight, fright, and even freeze mode. Because if you're on stage and you can't walk off and you've got an audience in front of you, if the adrenaline is running so high, you can end up freezing. And that's where a lot of authors go, that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to start freezing. Hang on. Who's this about? Is this about you, or is it about the message that you're sharing with your audience?
Right.
They're the ones who need to hear it.
It is.
Cool.
It is.
So we've got 2 books, 2 memoir books,
Right.
and an anthology of poems.
Mm-hmm.
Your second book, Road to Resilience, that was published when?
That was published this year, a few months ago, January the 20th.
2024.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
So those books can be got hold of in Amazon?
They can be getting a hold, gotten. They can be gotten a hold of on Amazon. Yes.
Sure, sure. Okay. We'll make
Yes.
sure that those links are in our show notes so everybody can go and go have a look. Because I'm assuming then that you've got an author page on Amazon, have you?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that's probably the quickest way of doing it, audience, is that if you look at somebody's author page, as you know, because you're authors, you have then all the different works that have been published under your name. So that's an
Right.
easy way of doing it. Great. Thank you. So speaking, writing, speaking, kind of your published work came after your speaking, but the writing had actually started beforehand
It has. It did.
when
Yes.
you were journaling. Did you journal
Yes.
that much as a child?
No,
Right. Okay.
I didn't. I barely survived as a child. So,
Yeah.
but no, my journaling only started because it was a requirement
Okay.
of the addiction treatment center that I was a part of.
Right. Okay. So it's part of your rehab.
And
Yeah.
after I finished addiction treatment center program, I stopped journaling. I didn't continue journaling.
Okay.
I stopped afterwards. But I was a bit of a pack rat. I kept all my papers. I kept all my all my writings. So
Cool. So do you journal now?
no,
No. Okay.
I'm too well. I guess in a certain way, I do. I don't necessarily say I have a journal. I don't like intentionally write a journal entry every day, but I'm nonstop, continuously writing. So I'm always on some sort of program online, doing some type of posting or code, or
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. I mean, nowadays a lot of people have been blogging for years,
Yes.
and that in a way is a form of journaling. Because again, journal has different meanings for different people. Some people consider it like a diary. It's the
Right.
April the 5th, and I'm doing XYZ today.
Right.
Other people will sit down and go, I've got a question to explore. They'll write the question at the top of the page, and then they'll free flow. And that particularly works if you are physically pen in hand writing, because then you've got the kinesthetic stuff involved as well, and it just flows. But so there are different forms of journaling. But when you're and a lady I was interviewing yesterday, she's about to publish a diary with life lessons attached to it. So there again, that's a different opportunity for sharing your wisdom. So yeah, lots of different ways. And you're continuing to write. Have you got another book planned as yet?
I do.
Oh,
I do. Well, my anthology, not my anthology, my autobiography is meant to be a trilogy.
oh right, okay. I was unaware of that. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Come on, spill.
Well, there's not much to spill right now. That's really put on hold because it's my life story, and I'm not gonna have my life story ending when I'm still got 30 years left to live.
Oh, exactly. Okay, so
But
you're
I only wanted it to be a trilogy. I don't want there to be a fourth book to my
okay.
especially today. Now I might write something else. I don't know about that yet.
Okay.
I'm thinking I might, but as for my autobiography, my trilogy, it's the third book for that will be a good few years yet, hopefully.
Okay, sure, yeah. The slight danger with that is knowing when your time is up.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So don't leave us with nothing to finish off with, because I know very clearly how life can finish literally like that. So my suggestion to you would be keep going. road behind you, get it down on paper, even if the manuscript is not completed, but make sure somebody knows where it is just in case.
Yeah, true. Well, I mean, like I said, I'm not necessarily writing towards something right now, but I got so much content I'd saved on my computer and written down. I got content enough to do probably 40 books if I wanted to. I mean, so
Hell, it doesn't all have to be your autobiography.
right.
Do you know of the writer Douglas Adams?
I know the name, yeah.
Yeah. He wrote a trilogy in 5 parts.
A trilogy in 5 parts, okay.
It was a humorous section of books, but the whole point was that he was going, it's a trilogy in 5 parts. So yes, I mean the thing is you can play with the words as well. You can make fun of it as well, but you don't have to simply keep to the memoirs. On that note, you've got 2 books out at the moment plus your poetry book, but you've also got a program that you're running, haven't you? Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, it's called Unleash Your Inner Strength, and it's a 6-week do-it-yourself course that is currently being upgraded to actually me giving coaching and teaching lessons as well and sessions. But it's unleash your heart's courage, ignite resilience, and seize victory and self-mastery.
Oh,
so you might say, what's all those for? What does all that mean?
Yes,
well, it includes many things: embracing self-discovery and understanding your own life patterns. It's there to help you to recover from suffering from addictions. It helps you to cultivate your own hope in life and tools for personal development. It's confronting your own addictions and your own fears and judgments and helping you deal with stress and anxiety.
Cool. Who's it aimed at?
Who was it aimed at? Who was my target market, my niche market?
Who's going to get the most benefit from your wonderful wisdom?
People who are feeling like they're at a standstill, people who are feeling like they're stuck in a rut, people who would like to be able to, who knows that there's more to their life than what they're currently going through, but they don't really know how or where to get started.
Okay. So you're looking for somebody who's feeling as though they're stuck in a rut. They're looking for clarity. They want some guideposts as to where to go next.
Right.
Beautiful. Thank you. Now that you say is an online self-paced course.
Yes.
And we can get hold of you through your links that'll be in the show notes.
Yes, the links will be given to you. Yes, and it's on the platform called Thinkific.
Oh right. Thinkific, yep.
Yeah, so that's where it's located to currently, and like I said, I'm always updating, I'm always reviewing and maybe adding things to it. So pretty soon it's going to be more live than what it currently is.
Oh, so is that a bit more accountability coming through as well?
More accountability, yes, for sure.
Because I mean, I don't know if you know the stats about how many people ever get past page 18 of a book, let alone read the first chapter. Yeah,
there's a big portion of people who, not only with books, courses, anything, they start something and they never finish. And most people, quite a few.
I can stick my hand up to that and confess I've got a few outstanding courses to get finished.
Right. I'm the same way.
And then there's the implementation, isn't there? Because you can learn lots of different stuff and it's put it into practice. Otherwise we get bright, shiny.
That's the way what I found with myself at the beginning of the pandemic. In the first year, I must have attended no less than 400 summits or challenges or workshops or on different topics or whatever. But I wasn't taking time to implement anything. So if I'm not taking time to And someone asked me afterwards, "What do you?" I don't know. It's in there somewhere. It's inside my brain somewhere, but I didn't implement it, so I didn't use it, so it
Yeah.
was just sitting there.
Yes. No, I know that one. And of course, when we were in lockdown, and you guys in Canada were really pretty much confined to barracks, weren't you? I think
Yeah, we couldn't go
between,
out. No, yeah,
yeah, Canada and I think Melbourne in Australia were the tightest controlled. I
right.
mean, Melbourne spent an entire year in lockdown.
Yeah, we pretty much did as well.
So what else were you going to do?
Right.
You're going to take advantage of the online stuff, and that, getting back to your point about COVID being a gift to some people, we wouldn't have met otherwise.
That's right.
And the online village, the global village, really has shown itself to be a global village.
It
We had
is.
International Women's Day earlier on in this year, and I did a quick count up on my Facebook contacts alone and realized I knew women from 44 different countries.
Well, okay.
Now, prior to COVID, that wouldn't have been accurate.
No. Right.
Wow. So yeah,
Well.
we opened up the world, and that's where a lot of the, particularly the multi-author books come in that they draw in authors from across the world. Our own mad book, the Making a Difference: Ways to Magnify Abundance, Vitality and Freedom, which came out last August, we had authors in from 6 different countries.
Right.
So yeah, it's exciting when you get that cross-pollination of ideas, and people work as a team. But your works are solo works, aren't they?
Well, I have. Speaking of which, I have collaborated, and I think I've been 2 other books. Like, but it's only really short passages, like probably like 5 pages in each one.
That's fine.
But
That's
but
still part of
I
your
am in
writing.
yeah,
Are those up on your author page?
they are. Yep. Well, one of them is. Yep.
Cool. Cool. That's the thing, you see. Very often authors go, well, I'm not an author because I've only contributed to a book. That's part of your book. It is your book, because your book, that book would not be complete without you.
True enough.
So yeah. Oh, it gets better, Sheldon. There's even more things that we can delve into your wonderful writings and know a
For
bit more
sure.
about you. Excellent. So one of the things that I'm keen on with the authors who are maybe a bit reluctant to speak from stage is that you speak from your scars, not your wounds. That you've learned the lessons, you've come through the other side, and like you with your wonderful path behind you, you're not living in that angst and that bum state that you were in.
Right.
And you've learned from it, and it's from that position that you are now speaking and can share that wisdom with the world. This is where the authors, I'm bringing them to suggest to them that yes, you can speak, and you're speaking from your scars. You've learned the lessons, you know what that wisdom is, and that's what you're sharing. And go back and getting back to your point about being in front of an audience, it's about them.
It is.
It's sharing.
It's not about us at all.
Yeah.
It's not about us at all. It's really about how we can. It's really about the audience. It's connecting to the audience, to knowing what they need to hear, to knowing what they need for themselves. A lot of them don't even know for themselves what they need, but it's our job, I believe, to know what they need, and to help them. It's really to help them see for themselves, what it is that they're capable of.
This is where your story is so inspiring, because, as you know, stories are how we get in under the subconscious, because the logical brain goes, well, that's not me at all. I don't have a disability.
Right.
Why is that relevant to me? But as you're talking about the fact that you escaped your previous your upbringing, and your escape route was the bottle and the drugs, and that's when some people go, oh, I might not have been disabled, but I am escaping from something. And it doesn't have
Right.
to be something as obvious as alcohol and drugs.
Right.
I mean, I put my hand up to the addiction of overworking.
Yeah. Overeating,
Yes,
over watching Netflix.
yes,
You
exactly.
know.
Some of them are more socially acceptable,
Yeah.
but if there's something that you feel compelled to do, there's that, whoa, why? What role is it fulfilling? And so there,
Right.
your wonderful story gets people to think, huh, different vehicle, same message.
Right.
So yeah, that's the power of story, isn't it? And
It
I
is.
love your story. I really do. It's
Thank
very,
you.
audience, this
Thank
is
you.
for you
Yeah.
as well. You need to think about, and I invite you to really inhabit your own story. What are those words? What's the wisdom that you're bringing to your audience? And how can you choose relevant snippets of your life history to back up those points? By relevant, it's who's the audience in front of you? It's back to Sheldon's point about it's all about the audience. So what are
Right.
those stories that can convey your message in a deep way?
We all have something in we all have some different things in common. No
Yeah.
matter who you are, what walk of race, what walk of life you're from, we all have things in common. We all have seen disappointment. We've all been hurt in some shape or form in our life, and we've all been happy in our life. Some, even if it is only fleeting joy, we've had, even if it only lasted a short while, we still know what that feeling is like. I mean, it might not be happen so much as some people, but we all know what it is. So I believe it's my job and other to find out how I can relate to others
Yeah.
and help them be able to relate to themselves before they can relate to others.
Beautiful words, Sheldon. Absolutely beautiful words. Your sole purpose, my man, is exemplary. And I'm so blessed to know you. So blessed to know you. So we've said that the writing and the speaking kind of have come in tandem and still go in tandem, because whilst you may not have a book project due for publication yet, there are others in the pipeline, and you're regularly putting out posts on Facebook. Do you do much on Insta or LinkedIn?
I post as well on LinkedIn. I've never really myself been a fan of Instagram because it's mostly pictures. I feel it is. I mean, mostly pictures on Instagram, so I've never really gotten into photos that much.
Okay, sure.
You
I mean,
know,
the
and
point
I'm sure there's
is
more
that
to.
where your audience lies? It's get back to your point about who your
Right.
audience are, and if they are consuming their social media on, that was air quotes for the audience who are listening, for this, if whoever wherever your audience hangs out, even if it's not your personal preference,
Right.
that's where your presence needs to go, because again, it's all about your audience. I'm exploring Insta a bit more now, and the old camera, the phone goes out pretty much on a regular
Yeah.
basis. And as I've said to you before, make sure you've got photos of you on stage, make sure you've got videos of you doing this, that, and the other, because
Yeah.
everybody wants to know the connection with you.
That's right.
And that's where the speaking comes in, isn't it? Because when people hear your voice, when they go back to read your works, I've got Sheldon's voice in my head as I'm reading. So, so powerful. Okay.
Being able to connect to your audience is the most important thing, I believe.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
and you
Absolutely.
can't
Head
you can't
and
do
heart.
that. You can't do that unless you can connect to yourself first.
Very good point. Very good point. Yeah. And it's those stories that we tell ourselves, isn't it? That I can't do this.
Right.
Hello, Mr.
Sure
Sheldon.
you can. Sure you
Yeah, you
can.
can.
If you think you can't, then the only way you can't do something is if you tell yourself that you can't do something.
Mhm.
Now, you might not do it exactly the way that the book tells you to do it, or a book might tell you to do it, or you might not do it exactly the way that other people do it, but there's always a way to do things. Like, I'm after good learning for myself that, sure, because the way my arms are not physically able to raise my arms, that I might not be able to climb a mountain, but I can darn well walk around a mountain. So there's always a way. There's always a way to do things. And if you
Yes.
tell yourself you can't do it, then you won't do it
Where there's a will, there's a way.
for sure.
Where there's not a will, there's an excuse.
Yeah. And I come to realize that there's many, many more excuses out there than what there are reasons for you not to do things.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So you need to be able to fight. So you need to train yourself to have an excuse of why you want to do it.
Oh, I like it. Yeah. That's a great life lesson, isn't it? Have an
It is.
excuse why you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, beautiful. And as you said, you're the living example of, I may have limitations physically, but hang on a minute, there's a workaround here.
That's right.
So yeah.
And that's what I try to. That's what I'm hoping to parlay to my clients because I'm starting up coaching, one-on-one coaching. I haven't really got any clients yet, but this is still something that's in the works of me getting better well known, so that I can actually start having clients for my one-on-one coaching because I might not have the degrees behind me, but I have the degree of living life, and I have
Life
the degree of
experience.
life experiences that what worked for me might not work for you, but it worked for somebody.
Well, the point is that you're giving, again, it's that thread, isn't it? It may not be, try this on for size is a good phrase. Try this on for size. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, I've given you the nugget of an idea of what you could work on instead.
Right.
Great. So your one-on-one coaching, is that aimed at people with a disability, physical disability?
Not specifically. It's for the same type of market as what my book and my course is. It's for
Cool.
people who feeling stuck in a rut and they haven't gotten a way forward, or they don't see a way forward, but they want to. People who is looking to empower and inspire their employees to put more determination into their work and to see that there's a way to grow their businesses as well.
Sure.
Because coming from living on the streets where I've come from, to being my own CEO of albeit a very small company right now, but it's growing,
It's growing.
and it's growing. It is
Out of
going in a positive
acorns.
direction. So for people saying that they can't do it, sure you can,
Yes. Got it.
right?
Beautiful.
And I know so many people who, as for myself, regarding my coaching again, is like I might not have, like I said, the education behind me to be, but I know what it's like to be there, and because I know what it's actually like to be there,
Well,
that's
that's
how
the
I
point, isn't
know
it?
I relate to.
There's theoretical knowledge
Yeah,
and there's lived experience.
right.
And people today, okay, I may have some degree or whatever. So what? I really need to know the nitty gritty, the how to, which is where you excel. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so winding up then, Sheldon, we're
Yes.
talking about from page to stage. Tell me, how do you embody your words? How do you give that sense of the energy of your written words when you're speaking?
Well, it's all about being authentic. It's all about the way you portray yourself. I believe that anybody can just stand in front of people and read words off a piece of paper. Anybody can do that, but I really believe it's about being authentic, knowing yourself. Before I speak, I take a moment of solitude actually to reflect on the essence of my message, and I visualize the faces of who I'm speaking to even before I go on stage, and I picture them all with smiles on their faces. It's all about turning every word into an opportunity to make a genuine impact, to spark change, and to offer peaceful advice.
Beautiful.
So because my intention is not just to speak, but to resonate
Ooh,
with others,
nice.
to stir something within you, not just for you to hear my words, but for you to hear your own heart. for you to
Take
hear
them in.
yourself. That's
Mm.
why I speak. So to move you to move yourself.
Move you to move yourself. Brilliant. Now, Sheldon, I have to tell you that that is a wonderful quote, which I will probably use on the show notes. That is phenomenal. Move. I want to move you, so you move yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Right?
Thank you so much, Sheldon. Before we wind up, have I missed anything off?
I don't think.
Cool. Thank you so much for sharing your from page to stage. For now, everyone, bye from us.
Thank you.